The OnePlus 10 Pro is unquestionably the most premium phone OnePlus has ever made, and it's well worth considering if you're looking for a high-performing flagship phone in 2022. Here's what you should know. From its powerful processor and its beautiful display to its solid performing camera and its pretty slick looking design, this phone ticks almost every box you should expect from a flagship phone launching this year. And at $899, it does it at a more reasonable price than many of its main rivals. So let's take a closer look at why this phone is worth your time, and I suppose your money. I love the look of the OnePlus 10 Pro. It's got a frosted glass back with a slick camera unit and a lovely green colour that I think is smarter and more stylish than the shiny fingerprint-prone backs of the previous OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro. It has a look that I think stands out well against the iPhone 13 Pro and the S22 Ultra. It's not necessarily any better or worse than those phones, it's just different, and I like that. It should put up with some abuse as well, as that back is made from toughened Gorilla Glass 5, and there's even more hardcore Gorilla Glass Victus on the front. There's no official IP waterproof rating though, unless you buy the T-Mobile exclusive version in the US, which is IP68 rated. The rest of you, including everyone buying this phone outside of the US, which does include me here in the UK, will just have to work extremely hard to keep it safe from spilled drinks. So when I take a sip of coffee, I move the phone over here, where it's safe. It is a shame, as waterproofing is pretty much standard on most of its main rivals, and indeed the previous OnePlus 9 Pro did also have an IP68 rating. So it feels especially frustrating that this genuinely useful safety feature has been restricted solely as part of an exclusivity deal with one US carrier. The 6.7-inch display has a 3216 by 1440 pixel resolution, making even tiny little details look pin sharp. It's bright too, with punchy colours that do justice to whatever vibrant psychedelic games or TV shows or movies you happen to be watching right now. For me, it's still just Shrek on constant repeat, and do not even begin to tell me that this is not the greatest movie ever made. The display has a 120Hz refresh rate, which makes scrolling around look buttery smooth, but it can automatically lower that refresh rate to conserve power during tasks that just don't require it. You'll also find a fingerprint scanner invisibly hidden underneath the display, which I found to work pretty quickly and accurately most of the time. The back of the phone is home to 3 cameras, a 48-megapixel main camera, a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and an 8-megapixel telephoto camera offering 3.3 times optical zoom. Now, I've spent some time already using the main camera in an earlier test, and I'm pleased to report that the results are generally excellent, with great exposure, lovely colours, and plenty of detail. There's a new RAW option too, called RAW Plus, that's hidden inside the Pro mode. This uses computational imaging techniques, things like HDR blending, but still outputs a DNG RAW file, which makes it much easier to edit in apps like Adobe Lightroom. It's much the same as what Apple did with its ProRAW format, and it works really well here, especially if you are the sort of person, like me, that likes playing around with your photos afterwards. It has a portrait mode function too, which I found works pretty well, along with some other neat features including an X-Pan panorama mode and a motion blur mode for creating ethereal blurred water images, or those cool shots of car headlights streaking their way through a city's streets. The super wide lens is bright and vibrant as well, although I did find that there is sometimes a noticeable colour shift between using the main lens and the ultra wide. That 3.3 times optical zoom gives you enough zoom to help you find some more interesting compositions within whatever scene you're looking at, although I did find that it isn't quite as sharp and detailed as the zoom shots you'd get from the iPhone 13 Pro. But of course, if zoom is a priority for you, then no phone comes close to the whopping 10 times optical zoom offered by the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Then there is the 32-megapixel front-facing camera, which consistently produces well-exposed and sharp images for those selfie lovers among you. When the sun goes down, the night mode does a decent job of capturing a bright and sharp image, although I have found that results still are not up there with the iPhone 13 Pro, especially not when which produces a noticeably worse image, more image noise and very blurry details. Decent, but they haven't really competed with the best of the best around. And while the 10 Pro does pack the most accomplished camera that OnePlus has ever put into a phone, its low light and zoom skills do let it just a little bit. Its main camera does still take excellent daytime images though, so it is well important to you, but maybe not the sole reason you're buying the phone. Powering the 10 Pro is Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, backed up by either 12GB of RAM if you are in the UK like me, or 8GB of RAM if you're buying it in the US. This combo put in some great scores on our various benchmark tests. It's certainly up there among its other elite competition, and there is no doubt that it has got more than enough power to handle almost anything you're likely to throw at it. It breezed through things like raw photo editing and video streaming, while playing demanding games like Asphalt 9 and PUBG was absolutely buttery smooth, even with the settings cranked up to the max. It has apparently done a whole variety of tweaks to the software to ensure that gaming performance is optimized, smooth frame rates, and also to reduce latency between you tapping the screen and an action taking place in game. Needless to say then that the keen mobile gamers among you are well catered for here. The phone is generally incredibly nippy to use, and that translates to a really nice smooth experience when you're just using it throughout your day. Then there's the Android 12 based software, which is neat and free of clutter and easy to understand, which makes it a really nice phone to use whether you're experienced with Android or just taking your first steps into the smartphone world. Providing the juice is a generous 5000 mAh battery, which, thanks to a variety of efficiency improvements, should last a full day of mixed use. I've actually found throughout most of my testing that it will easily get far into the second day, but of course, as with any phone, if you absolutely have streaming all day, then you'll probably need to give it a charge in the afternoon. It supports a review model supporting 80-watt fast charging, although those of you in the US will find that it does it at 65 watts. OnePlus reckons with 65 will go from empty to full in around 32 minutes. That's still incredibly fast, and it means you can give it a quick boost before you head out on an evening, safe in the knowledge that you'll probably have plenty of battery remaining when you need to call a cab home after those beers. If you're mainly looking for the ultimate in photography prowess in a phone, then you are still better off looking towards the iPhone 13 Pro with its superior low light skills, or towards the Galaxy S22 Ultra with its incredible 10x zoom. Also, if waterproofing is critical to you because you are frequently careless around swimming pools, then you should exercise caution as well. But the 10 Pro's combination of its great all-round performance, its slick looks, its solid battery life, and its more approachable price tag means that this phone is well worth considering for your next upgrade. But do let us know your thoughts on the OnePlus 10 Pro in the comments below, and make sure to check out the description for a lot more information.